appreciated to have, I got a family now. I can't wait till, my family grows and then someday I have one or they have one, whatever the situation may be. So a lot of contradictions in terms of what he's said. With this grandmother thing, you said you guys were close. Was this kind of the straw that, I know you said this is why you broke the book. Is this, what Dana has done with his grandmother, is this almost unforgivable? Is this something that you think about in your head and you say, I don't know if I can ever forgive this?
Yeah, it's really hard to think that he's done something like that. I don't know why I don't feel bad that he hasn't done anything to help me or any of the rest of the family. And he didn't do anything to help his grandmother. She lived in a little mobile home here in a mobile home park, a little tiny single wide, they call it, it was old. It was 1960. When I had money, I would give her money and fix it all up and put a new kitchen in for her and things like that. But, she was old. Her grandson was a multimillionaire.
Oh, yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, he could have made her life very comfortable for her last year or two. But that didn't even enter his mind to do those things for her. When she was sick, one of my brothers had come down to help take care of her. And he said, Mom, where would you like to be right now? And she said, oh, I'd like to be sitting on a windward island somewhere. And I thought,
That only costs a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
It don't even cost nothing.
Exactly.
I could do it. You know what I mean? And I'm sure you could probably do it now. And normal people can do stuff like that. So when you're a multi-millionaire, I don't understand. That's a sad story. So the last year of her life, she's in this trailer. Dana's rich, knows that she's in this trailer, promises her doctors and getting her the best care. And so she's going and bragging to all of her friends.
Yeah.
My grandson, he's going to take care of it. And then, nothing.
No, never heard from him again.
Did he go to the funeral?
No.
What?
No, didn't go to the
Did he
funeral.
pay for the funeral?
No. Didn't go to the funeral, didn't send her flowers, cards. Even when she was alive, he didn't send her cards or flowers or anything. So...
I would walk back to Indiana right now for my grandmother's funeral from Florida if I had to. I can't relate to that. I can't understand that. And that's why I can't be unbiased. I cannot be unbiased. It's disgusting.
I think it was over 2 years. We had 3 unexpected deaths in the family. My mom being the last one, but he also had 2 of his cousins who died. My niece, who was 30 years old. She had just had a baby the week before, and she dropped dead in her backyard from an aortic aneurysm rupture. And she had been complaining all week since she had the baby that she was lightheaded, chest pain, short of breath, and everybody blew her off because she was a young, healthy girl. She didn't eat meat, she was a runner, did all the right stuff. And Dana didn't come to her funeral. Like I said, our family was close. Even our kids were all close.
Are all these funerals happen on Saturday nights between 10 and 1 a.m.?
Exactly.
That's the only excuse I could see, honestly. And even then, I take off work,
Yeah. Well, and my nephew, one of my brother's boys, his only son actually, who was living in Las Vegas, was killed in a car accident. He was a passenger. He was 18 years old. And Dana did not go to his funeral either. He did send flowers, but, Jason was out there. He'd just been over Dana's house like the day before.
I hate to sound morbid, but if you passed away right now, do you think you'd be at your funeral?
No.
This is a hard question to ask, but as a mother, how does that feel? Because even me as an outsider, I can't fathom it. I can't understand it. If you had the opportunity, would you forgive Dana for all he's done? And if there was a chance at a reunion, just give me a number. What's the odds of there ever being a Dana White, June White reunion?
I think the odds on my side would be higher.
Sure.
But I think Dana, once he turns his back on someone, that's it for him. I mean, he closes the door and that's the end. He's done it to most of his friends and family. It's not just me, but he's done it to, it's his uncles, his aunt, some of his cousins, a lot of his friends, almost all his Southie friends.
Right. Sometimes, do you think maybe he's just chosen the friends with the money? That's what's happening, is maybe he's decided, Lorenzo and them, they can make him a rich man, and obviously has. Do you think that had anything to do with it, or is he is that just his character?
I can't figure that part out myself. I wrote in the book about the black eyes when he was born.
Right.
And everybody was so upset over that.
We know I'm about to come with that too. Yeah, Rosemary's Baby, obviously. Bloodstained Lane, I know you're going to love this part. I got to ask, you talked about that. Is this deceit of Satan? Well, I mean, obviously, I got to know what's going on here. No, honestly, what made you write that, and kind of your opinions on that? Very funny part of the book.
Yeah, well, I thought it does tie into something at the end of the book.
Sure, it did.
But people didn't get that part at all. They just heard the Rosemary's Baby came from. Mia Farrow was very sick in the movie.
Absolutely.
And when I was pregnant with Dana, I was very sick with him. And so that was the comparison, but that his eyes were so black. And we're, Irish background, so everyone's got blue or green eyes.
Right.
And so here I have this baby with these black eyes, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm thinking of the movie and everything, and I thought, my God, it's like a soulless,
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm beginning to think that now, maybe he is soulless with the stuff he does to his family and his friends, and even the people he works with or work for him, I guess. Everyone works for him. They don't work with him.
Oh, Dana the Demon.
Exactly.
I actually wrote an article called, like I said, I've been critical of Dana. Speaking of criticism, I got to ask you, how do you feel the networking media backlash on Twitter or Facebook? Has it affected book sales and just your overall view of that? Obviously you have your supporters, and as we discussed before, I think with some of the risk that's out there, I think you have an opportunity to really know who your real supporters are, compared with, like I said, Dana, who doesn't really know.
Right.
The backlash. There's been nasty things, we've discussed it. People that have questioned your motives. How has it affected your sales? Do you believe it's affected your sales and overall opinion by the public for June White?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone in the beginning who wrote something positive about the book, especially like on undergrounds and things like that, it was immediately removed.
Yeah.
And people were actually banned from some of the undergrounds for bringing it back up again. And then, there were writers for certain, I said to you, Cage Potato.
Yeah.
Really, they would write articles, but nobody would sign their name to them.
They're jerk-offs.
Yeah, and they wrote some horrible stuff. You could tell they never read the book. Mm-hmm. But, my opinion of them was they were trying to kiss Dana's ass to get back in his good graces. But then...
They were blacklisted at one point, just so you know, and I think that's what it is. I think Cage Potato was blacklisted about a year ago, and I think that's probably what it is. I hate to interrupt. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, and then there were people who actually received phone calls telling them that they better remove, anything about the book or me or the picture of the book from their websites, or they would be blacklisted from MMA forever. One of those people was a person called the Garv,
right.
And he had it up, and he told me afterwards, he said, I feel bad because I did everything they wanted because, I didn't want to get put on the outside, and he said, it bothered me so much, and he said, I had still done it anyways, but he said, what I got out for? He said, my credentials were pulled. He said, so I did everything they asked of me, and he said, I still had credentials pulled.
It's funny because I remember when you did the interview with Middle Easy or whatever, that it had to be posted a couple times. The owner of the video had to send it to me in my email because Zuffa kept taking the video, finding a way to take the video down. They haven't been able to do it on mine, and they're not going to take this one down either, but I see that they're trying. no offense to the golf, but I got to say this. Do you think that that maybe this industry, and especially in your case, it needs more people standing up to Dana? Because I'm letting you know, Dana, I'm not taking the shit down, period. Bottom line. My question is, do you believe that more people need to start calling him on his bluff? Because think about it. If the MMA media all called him out on his bluff and said, we're not going to let you control this. We're not going to cover your event. Imagine a press conference with no media.
Yeah.
Who's going to... MMA is not that big yet anyway. So what I mean is, it's getting there. But in terms of the NFL, NBA, where it wants to get to, if there's no media to help promote it, how's it going to go? So, do you think maybe it would take something like a mass group of people saying, you know what, Dana, you're not running the media here? Is that what you think it would maybe take to change things?
Yeah, it really could if they all just banded together and stood up against him. But I don't think that's ever going to happen because there's enough of them out there that would do anything to climb over the backs of somebody else to get in a better position, to do their MMA stuff. So, you're right. If the media said, we're not going to cover you if you keep, treating us like this and treating people this way, UFC wouldn't be very, very popular or big or, continue to grow. But, there's too many people who just don't go that route.
And, sometimes, Dana, you saw what happened with Loretta Hunt. And I hate to say it, it actually worked with Loretta. Big ups to Loretta. I love Loretta Hunt. The book is doing well, so now she's getting back out there. But in terms of journalism, he did hurt her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With me, it's not hurting me because I don't care if I go to a UFC event or not. Big ups to Bjorn Rebney, Bellator, all you guys out there. But the truth of it is, I think some people do fear that. I think they fear having the X. But at the same time, I think journalism is about integrity. If you don't have it, I think everything in life is about integrity. So just me personally, I can see the day when people do it, but we'll see how it goes. Now, I know I got to ask you this, as a mother, you saw kind of everything Dana did for many, many years. Can you elaborate on the womanizing ways of Dana? That's something that I don't think a lot of people know about. You've touched on it in your book. Just kind of your thoughts on that. Once again, I like to expose the character of Mr. White.
The lack of.
Right. The lack of.
Yeah. I guess some of it was there before he had all the money and the power and stuff.
Right.
He was with one girl for quite a while. I think I mentioned her in the book.
Absolutely, you did. Your long-time girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And
actually, my next question coming too.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I keep getting ahead again. And he did, kind of do her wrong before he left for Vegas. But since he's been out there, I'm kind of one of these people who believes if you're married, then you're married. Period. If you don't want to be married, if you want to run around, if you want girlfriends and sleep around, then leave the person you're with.
Absolutely.
I'm not overly fond of his wife, but you know what? Walk away from the whole marriage if this is the way things are going to be. So, I don't think I'm the only one that knows it. A lot of people know.
The only reason I'm bringing it up is because I've actually heard it in a previous interview, and I feel like there's some things, obviously, that are personal. I do believe Dana's entitled to his own. What he does behind closed doors is 100% his business, but at the same time, we go back to what I said about him being a cult leader at this moment. And I think, look, a lot of us still like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a cheater, a liar, he got high.
I don't like him.
Yeah, right. Some do, but some do. And, some people like George Bush despite his issues. Or Barack Obama. But my point here of it is that I think reality needs to come out, in situations like this. You talked about his longtime girlfriend, and it was something that in the book also touched me is how that went, and then kind of how things ended up with his current wife. I was kind of, maybe you can touch on that and tell why that was relevant in your book. Was it kind of an aspect of showing his character?